It's Happy Hour from Central City, New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. You know, when you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is, no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limo or out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar, in this case, Casa Borrega on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard. Casa Borrega is a bar, a restaurant, and a live music venue. You can check them out on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow them in both those places or just come on down and hang out here anytime. My guests sitting around the table here at Casa Borrega today are MC Tracheotomy. Hello, MC.
Hey, how's it going?
Shall I call you Tracheotomy or MC or M or Trach or what?
Whatever feels comfortable for you. That's usually.
I like MC Tracheotomy because it's so wacky.
I like put it on out.
Trach. You like Trach, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trach's good.
Do people call you Trach?
A lot of people call me Trach.
They do? Okay. Well, I'm going to call you Trach as well then if Andrew and a lot of people do.
I don't mind
Who am I?
tracheotomy too. Just don't call me late.
For dinner.
Or ever.
Really?
I'm going to be late. So
okay. MC Tracheotomy is a New Orleans musician and performance artist. Is that accurate? Would you call yourself a performance artist?
I guess so, yeah. But
okay.
It's not so much a thespian thing as it is just a
performance then without the artist.
Yeah, menagerie, right. Well, there's some artistry going on in there.
Okay.
There's a little touch and go.
So I go back with that, so stick with performance artist?
You could just say performer. How about that?
Performer, okay.
One that performs.
Let me try this again. MC Tracheotomy is a New Orleans musician and performer who has toured the US extensively and Europe several times. MC Tracheotomy has been described as, and I quote, a rare collage of madness highlighted by drunken-esque production and cryptic lyrics straddling rap, spoken word, psychedelic rambling, prophetic stage beef-hearty and wackiness, lo-fi pop, new wave operas, and the musical equivalent of a hurricane sweeping away swamp grado. What the hell is grado?
It's gradu.
Gradu.
It's like mildew, but it's a
little extra,
gradu.
Little lanyap with the mildew.
Okay, so it's spelled Gradeaux, but that's pronounced gradu.
Gradu.
And what's that from? So like a Cajun
That's from
thing,
it
Andrew?
could be behind the toilet or in the corner of the shower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cleaned up.
So that's a good description of your music. It's like sweeping away swampy stuff from behind the toilet.
Yeah, but like standing in one place in the shower. Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to moving around in the show, right? As well as appearing on several Quintron records and included on many compilations, MC Tracheotomy has released 5 full-length recordings and has got 9 more in the can waiting to see the light. Really? You have 9?
Yeah, maybe.
You just keep on recording them?
We just keep recording.
Yeah.
I mean, like Frank Zappa, who even knows how many albums he has that are
Stashed away somewhere.
Yeah, they just need to be mixed and mashed together. And the nature of the music is kind of mismatch.
Yeah.
Mash
Why don't you just put them out all the time? Well, let's get on to that in a minute, shall we?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Keep that as question number 1. Why don't you just put them out all the time? Okay. Lane Captain Levinson is with us as well. Hi, Lane.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Great.
Lane is a producer at WWNO 89.9 FM, the local NPR station in New Orleans, so she's really slumming it today. Lane is also the managing editor of NolaV.com, the local producer of the Moth Story Slam in New Orleans, and the co-producer of the live storytelling event Bring Your Own.
That's right.
You're a busy person. Lane has accomplished all of this, plus a stint at the Essence Festival and 2 years as assistant publisher of Nola Defender since moving to New Orleans from New York in 2009. Wow, you've done a lot in 4 years. Leaving behind a life of a classically trained violist.
That's right. I don't like to talk about it, but
Everybody's a musician here. Everyone around the table.
Yeah.
You're a classically trained violist, and you're also a lo-fi DJ yourself.
That's right.
Called DJ Swim Team.
That's right.
This is going to be the best show of all time. Okay, DJ Swim
On
Team.
your mark.
Meek
What's
MC
up?
Tracheotomy.
Hey.
All right, nice to see you.
How did you get the name Swim Team?
It came in the real desire to DJ while wearing a snorkel and a mask.
Nice.
I can relate
And
to
so when I started DJing, we would just wear these masks and big flippers hanging on chains and diving booties. And so it was really that I wanted to wear that. And then the name was, came after the idea for the costume.
Right. You've never had a tracheotomy, though, right? MC? What is a tracheotomy? That's when you have a hole in your throat.
Yeah.
Like
when you
the kazoo.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story. I got it. I was inspired by a guy at Brothers 3 before they had more than one light bulb, and I would go there.
It's a bar on Magazine Street.
Yeah,
Right.
Spot.
It's a great place, yeah.
It's gotten a paint job and a facelift, but back in the '80s, it was I think it was like 3-for-1 Pabst for $1.50 between 4 and 5.15 or something like that.
Right.
So it was a couple blocks away, and there was one guy that was always at the bar, and he had a little Drake wand, and the television was on back when there was, you could still have vertical hold problem. And so you never could really see what's going on. So we're just kind of listening to the news, and I could never tell if he was in a good mood. I mean, what he was saying about, I could just tell if he liked it or didn't like it, because it was like, and I thought, well, if rap is the word of the people, I don't really have anything to necessarily tell anybody what to do. So just try to put it out there, and hopefully people have fun. Close your eyes and just interpret.
You don't have to. You don't have to know what the lyrics are.
Well, it was
just
preaching.
a vibe.
I'm not here to preach.
MC. What happened to the guy with the tracheotomy? I wonder.
I don't know. I moved.
Moved downtown. What's the difference between tracheotomy and tracheostomy? Is there a difference between those two? Anyone know?
Is there a tracheostomy?
I've never heard of a
Maybe
tracheostomy.
it's just a mistake.
Maybe
There's no such word.
two
Chris,
variations on
check
the
it out.
procedure. Maybe
Okay, I'm going to keep going around the table. Brian Hyken is here. Hello, Brian.
Hey, how's it going?
Brian is the Brian Hyken behind Brian Hyken and the Wanderlust.
Yes.
Originally a native of St. Louis, Missouri, who left college. I see you didn't say drop out of college. Left college.
Well,
Did
I
you
went
drop
to-
out, actually?
Yeah, I dropped out.
Okay. Dropped out of college.
I took a semester at UNO for.
Oh, that's the same as dropping out.
yeah. But I came back down here. I attempted to go back, but the music kept calling.
So how long ago was that? Oh, I can read this here. It's in 2007 you dropped out. So
No,
you've been dropped out long enough to drop back in and get a degree by now. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just enjoy playing the old get fiddle too much, and can't get back to it.
Who wants to go back to school after that,
They
right?
did-
When you
they-
could
they
discover
didn't-
you played the guitar.
I wound up in a little bit of trouble up in Columbia, Missouri, so that's why I was like,
You had to get out of town quick?
yeah, something quick getaway. Hop on the train and ride.
Wow. What sort of trouble were you in?
Oh, nothing, just silly little like college stuff. But
Did you kill someone?
well, I can't admit that on the air. But
No one listens to the show, believe me. There's nobody listening. You can just tell MC Trey.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's like,
And then-
come on, interpret that.
no, yeah. Well, I ended up just school. School was kind of. I was doing marketing there, and I don't know. I was playing a lot of guitar, and I was kind of down because of the trouble that I was getting in, and I just kept on going back to the guitar, staying in my room more and more and more, and finally I was just like, I really want to do something with this, but you can't do much in Columbia, Missouri. It's a small town. The really only thing that's going on there is the college. So I moved down to New Orleans on a whim and been here for about 6 years now,
Wow.
almost 6 years. And
What happened to the trouble? Did you leave it behind you or did you bring it with you?
I left it behind.
There aren't
knock
many
on
people who
wood.
move to New Orleans to get out of trouble. Usually, are there?
I think here they
Well,
kind of
there's
let you.
there's a lot of people. There's a
They
lot of
just
refugees.
sort of dance freely around
Or you're
here.
doing the same things, you're just not getting in trouble.
Exactly, yeah.
You're not getting busted
a
for
little
it.
more tolerant.
What were you actually doing, Brian? Just like drugs? Okay.
No, they got like
What's funny
they got
about that
They got
exactly?
DWI stops everywhere. They crack down on underage drinking and
Oh,
you know, as
God,
a
really?
freshman and,
That's fucking ridiculous.
smoking a little pot in the dorms here and there. And, that kind
Well, that's
of stuff.
nothing too serious. You're not
No,
going to get
nothing
busted
too
for that
serious.
here. Well, you could have moved to Colorado now, of course, where it's totally legal to smoke pot.
would've
Is that
been
your
a-
biggest problem, smoking pot? Because we have a lot of pot smoking on the show.
I wouldn't call that a problem though.
Nah, you can smoke
In
pot
fact, let's
in
bring
here.
out the pot.
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
Let's do the
Crack
pot.
it
Here we go.
open.
All right.
This is Andrew Duhan, who travels around the world, and he comes back here. He's our happy hour troubadour, and he's back today
Yay.
for the rest of the whole hour, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, Brian, you see you have put an album out already called Eyes on the Future. Only one, not like Jay with his 5 and 9 on the,
I know, I'm not
in
there
the
yet.
bottom drawer.
It's all
And you got a
bad.
second one on the way called Brian Hyken on the Wanderlust.
Well,
Is
that's
that-
my new band. The album has not been named yet. Actually, it's going to be an EP.
Let's help you name it right now, shall we?
Can we help?
MCT?
Yeah.
Those.
What's
what
the...
we got?
Let's see. Leaving that trouble behind.
Welcome to my...
Break out
Leaving
the
that
pot.
trouble behind. That's not a bad right
Break
there.
out the pot.
Break out the
Break
pot.
out the pot. Yep.
What about my favorite, which is Welcome to My World?
Welcome to my world.
I've always think that's a good one, don't you think? It's sort of, it's like Our Name Says It All. You could call it that.
Well, the first one
Brian
was.
Hyken on the Wanderlust, Our Name Says It All.
Yeah.
Kind of rings a Tiny Tim a little bit.
Does it?
Welcome to my world.
Not all who wander are lost. That could be
That's
like a
nice.
caption.
Where did that come from?
from?
Jesus say that?
I believe he did.
Did he?
I
Really?
don't know.
That would be unlikely that I got that
No.
right after
No.
Jesus.
No.
Who did say not all who wander, what is it? Are lost. Not
A
all
good
who-
man named
Walt Whitman.
Doug Stream said that to me once.
Doug?
I think it's
Is he
Walt.
sitting over there?
He's sitting right behind me.
Well, ask
actually.
him where he stole it from. Doug, where did you get that from?
Lot.
Walt
Geez,
Whitman.
he looks drunk as all hell, this kid.
I think he got it from a little bit of weed and some alcohol and some benzos and all kinds of drugs.
Okay, Benzo.
One of those calendars where you rip it off each day is one of those. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's on the bottom of the thing.
Yeah.
Or they're like today's inspiration.
The far side.
Oh.
Well,
Right.
people don't have those
Daily
calendars. You
quotes.
get sent that as an email now.
Yeah. Right.
Daily, feel good thing.
Yeah.
Daily.
Top 10 things you don't really need to know that you need to know that you don't need to know.
That you should already know.
Yeah.
If you don't,
I mean-
then you're not with it.
Because if you don't know, you're gonna be like, what? What?
Really?
And if you agree with it, you already knew it. So it's really kind of.
It's kind of pointless bullshit.
If you never heard of it, just
Yeah.
nod your head and say yes.
Right.
So, MC, tell us what happened that you. I mean, I just know what I read about you online in the last 8 minutes.
Right.
You-
You probably got it all.
you were
man.
in the
You're
Coast
it's some
Guard.
extra time. Yeah, I went in the Coast Guard for a minute.
What made you do a thing like that? You like to save people?
It's kind of a school issue, the city got the better of me, and
Aha.
and
I know
my
that.
grades reflected that. So at the time I went in the Coast Guard, it was seemed like the thing to do. So I'm like, all right, well, if I can't make good grades, I might as well go jump out of a helicopter and save somebody.
Yeah. What did you actually have to do in the Coast Guard? What do they do there?
Yeah, well, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do.
What
did
you want to do?
I wanted to jump out of helicopters and save people.
Yeah, like on a rope, like rappel down into the water and pull people up.
Yeah, in the scuba suit with the boats turning over and stuff.
Yeah.
But I wound up being a little bit different. Went into boot camp and I was chosen for a ceremonial honor guard, which is, spinning the rifles or play the drum or whatever.
Yeah.
So kind of in the band, and then everybody else that went in at the same time was had to run around and do push-ups and sweatpants and stuff. So anyway, so I did pretty well. So I graduated second, and you get to choose your billet station in order of where you placed. So there was no air station New Orleans because I had to get back here, and but they advised me, if you take isolated duty, you get time and a half, and you get pay and a half, and you get to pick wherever you want to go after. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So I went 50 miles past Midway Island on this little island that was 1.5 miles by half a mile. I was out there for a year.
Where is this exactly?
It was 1,500 miles northwest of Honolulu.
1,500 miles northwest of Honolulu in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, about
There's a tiny island 1 mile long
and about half a mile wide.
and half a mile. What the hell will you do there? all day?
Well, back in the day, they used to have this thing called LORAN, which is Long Range Aids to Navigation, and ships on the high seas could triangulate
Right.
their plot. But now with GPS and all that stuff, I guess it's just a place for albatross and monk seals. I was, in retrospect, I'm glad I went because
What did you literally do all day on a mile long island? With how many guys are there?
there were 23 people total.
Any women?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone dating anybody or having sex with anybody or for a year?
Well, I guess I'm completely I'm safe with an honorable discharge. But yeah, there was definitely something. It's kind of like the show MASH, but no one was bombing anybody. It was like MASH meets Gilligan's Island, kind of. And you got your jerky people that like, you gotta be this way. It's like, we're in the middle of nowhere.
There's 20 people on a mile long island.
Right. So, but there were National Marine and Fisheries people there. So I kind of in my spare time went out with them and we set live fish traps to feed these monk seal pups that came out. We built a pen, dumped live fish in so they can learn to fish, and sneaking up behind a 500-pound seal with a jar of Lady Clairol to put a big number on it so it can bleach out in the sun. No tagging. That was good.
But who's paying you? This is the United States government. The federal government pays the Coast Guard, or is it the states, or what?
It's
The federal government.
It
Federal
was
government's
US
paying
Coast
20
Guard.
guys to hang out on a mile long island, do nothing except
There were
feed
some ladies
seals.
there. There were some ladies there
And
too.
women to feed seals for a year. Oh,
Well, we weren't feeding seals. We were making sure that the Coast Guard's duty was to make sure that the signal was being sent from the tower. So we had to maintain these big diesel generators and pump water out of the ocean through osmosis unit so we could have some bathing water and some drinking water. And
right.
just maintain the station. The National Marine and Fisheries people were there because it was a wildlife refuge for albatross and seals. And I kind of migrated to the National Marine and Fisheries tents.
And you just kept, basically the Coast Guard kept the lights on.
Yeah, and the signal pumping out like
Right.
in Johnston Island and somewhere else. It's in the middle of nowhere. So
That is, I don't think I've it's like being a monk or something, other than some of the women that you have
and
sex with from the wildlife and fisheries.
A real terrible thing was they, some people in, I guess, Honolulu got busted buying multiple cases of beer from the commissary and selling it at a inflated rate. So they cast a thing over the 14th district. You're only allowed 2 beers a day within this time frame. And so we're out in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, how can that apply to us? And so they rationed it like that, and so I started ordering cases of unfiltered apple juice and some brewer's yeast, and
No way.
and a big bag of balloons for someone's birthday, and we got some 5-gallon water jugs, and we made some wine out in the dunes.
Killer.
Put the balloon on top. I'm like, come on. I've been in New Orleans too long.
Yeah,
Two
nice.
beers, 2 beers every 6 hours or something.
Yes,
Fuck, get
indeed.
it.
On a mile long. Well, actually, we want to get to the story then eventually about how you got here and became a Ninth Ward institution musician and performer.
All right.
But first of all, let's make Brian play something, shall we?
Sure.
What do you think? Brian has a guitar here. So, Brian, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing for the last 7 years in New Orleans,
Well,
musically.
I got down here and didn't really know what to do. I was with my buddy. We were homeless. Didn't have a house to live in or anything. Just my car. So we drove around for 3 days. And at night, we just try to find like a safe street and park and use clothes with coat hangers and put them up on the sides of the windows to block
Did you
out
keep a record of which the safe streets are? Because it'd be good to know that now.
Well, the funny thing about that is we end up on State Street, State and Clare, and we're sleeping in the car, and we're like, God, man, we really got to find a place to live. Like this is killing me. And wake up the next morning, and I see a for rent sign right in front of the house that we're sleeping in front of. And so I called the lady, and she's like, oh, yeah, we're renting it out. I'm out of town, though, but the keys are underneath this little part on the side of the house, and if you just go there, you can, you sound like a nice guy. You can go take a look at it. And so I was like, okay, yeah. So my buddy and I go in there. It's an empty place. We're like, oh, my God, home. We just, hit the carpet and lay down. And that's where we made our home for the first year of living down here. And then I moved back to St. Louis for just a few months. Because after that lease ended up, I wasn't quite sure my living situation. I was still pretty young, like 20. And then I came back down 6 months later and I guess got caught up in the party scene and wasn't really totally devoted to music. And it wasn't until 2011 probably that I got serious. I met up with producer Chris Finney and recorded Eyes on the Future at the Music Shed with some really great musicians. Doug Belote on the drums,
Wow.
Charlie Wooten, bass guitar, Paul Longstreth on piano, Craig Klein, trombone, Jimmy Carpenter on saxophone. They all kind of helped me accompany my sound, and it was sort of a mix of different stuff. I mean, really heavy rock songs, jazzier songs, kind of pop songs, and that was a really great experience. But the new EP that's coming out with Brian Hyken and the Wanderlust is sort of our sound that we have as a band, and it's a new sound. It's probably more, if you're more of like a Black Keys, Kings of Leon sort of style of if you like that stuff, you might find this kind of cool. And my roots really come in with the blues guitar playing, though, and that's why I picked New Orleans, is because my biggest roots and influences are Stevie Ray Vaughan, Albert King, B.B. King, Hendrix, a huge influence, so stuff like that. And you don't hear in the live shows, you hear a lot of that bluesier guitar stuff, and I'm hoping to be able to put those kind of solos without lengthening the songs too long, where they won't be radio play length, but still putting that into the music that I record in January at the Parlor Studio is where I'm recording.
Where is that?
That's right on Chapatulas.
That's a safe street, by the way. Things don't work out.
Recording with producer Eric Heigl.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, let's take a listen to something. Grab that guitar off the table and see if we can make this work.
Okay.
So what are you going to play? Look at that giant tattoo. Is that the
It's a treble clef.
treble clef on your arm there? Wow.
There we go. How's that sound? Sound that? This one is an old blues song. A lot of people do it. It's called "In the Evening," when the sun goes down. You may have heard it. This one's closer towards Gary Clark Jr. kind of does a version similar to this. Ray Charles does a version, but this is my version. Well, in the evening, Yeah, mama, when the sun goes down in the evening. Yeah, mama, when the sun goes down. Don't feel so lonesome when your lover's not around. When the sun goes down, yeah, I lay awake at night. Oh, I'm just thinking to myself. I lay awake at night. Oh, I'm just thinking to myself. Know it hurts so bad when your lover's loving someone else. When the sun goes down. Where the sun rises in the east, little mama. Oh, now it sets down in the west. Where the sun rises in the east. Oh, now it sets down in the west. Ain't it so hard to tell which woman will love you the best? When the sun goes down, when the sun goes down, when the sun goes down.
Yes.
Thank you.
Brian Hyken and Wanderlust. Thanks very much. Hard to tell which one woman's going to love you the best when the sun goes down. How do you figure that out normally? What method are you using?
By how many of these
How many
dark
dark
and
and
stormies
stormies
I have in my
you've had or they've had? Well, cool. Thanks, man. Very nice. Hey, Lane, why did you quit playing the viola?
Well, I didn't ever think that I quit, but I played all the way from when I was 8 years old through, I went to college, continued playing in college, which I thought was that next big step of, are you going to keep playing? Yes, I'm going to keep playing. Played in the orchestra, played in chamber groups, and then I studied abroad my junior year.
Whereabouts?
I went to Dakar in Senegal, where I studied music.
You studied the viola in Senegal.
I did not.
Okay, this is
this
turning out to be the weirdest show of all
this,
time.
this is where I stopped playing the viola. This was actually the doom and gloom of my classical career.
Senegal
where
ended
I
your
learned
viola.
the djembe and the kora,
Oh no.
which was awesome, but not.
What is a djembe? Is that the
It's the drum
The
that
drum
you put between
thing,
your
right?
legs. and-
Yeah.
Smoke pot. And
Yeah. Exactly.
We're back to
Well,
pot
actually,
smoking
this-
already?
Well, this is the quickest little story, but one day I went to St. Louis. It's actually Saint Louis, but it's a different city in Senegal.
Different continent.
Well,
It's not St. Louis, Missouri.
not St. Louis, Missouri, where I have been and enjoy that city a lot. But I was in Saint Louis, Senegal,
Okay.
walking around. It's really very similar to New Orleans. It's beautiful. There's all these Spanish influences and all the houses are all these colors. And I'm walking by myself and there's a parade going on, which again was very,
Interesting.
And this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Do you smoke?" And I was like, well, he was smoking a cigarette, and I said, well, no, I don't smoke cigarettes. He's like, oh, do you smoke? and then he.
Is this a local Senegalese guy?
Yeah, it's a guy that I was totally by myself, and we walked back, and he was living in a bunker. He was like a military guy, and I'm like in this bunker in San Luis, and he's like rolling a joint, and he's so excited, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, okay, I'm gonna play you this song. I don't know if you ever heard it. It's my favorite song. And I was like, okay, what is this going to be,
Hey, what could possibly go wrong, right? You're in Senegal in a bunker.
And he's like going through his compact discs, and he's like going through his CDs, and he pulls one out and he puts it in, and I just hear, da, 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 and he's playing Roxanne by the Police.
That's everybody's favorite song. Come on.
And he's like, have you heard this?
Lord.
So anyway, backtrack. That's when I stopped playing the viola. No. But yeah, so then I went back and finished my final year in school.
Were you the only white woman in Senegal?
In San Luis that day?
San Luis.
One of the only. There are others.
Is it safe to walk around by yourself?
Yeah.
Totally safe.
I mean,
Nothing can
at
happen.
night I didn't walk around by myself, but during the day I would walk to the school that I was taking classes, and
What classes were you taking?
I was taking music classes. I was taking, some very general abroad-esque culture and society and, microeconomics and, the African continent and stuff like that. So it was awesome. It was an amazing experience.
What were you supposed to come out of it with some sort of credits for your...
Well, I just got general credits.
Right.
So
were you doing a degree in music at the time?
What, sorry?
You doing a degree in music?
I was getting a degree in American Studies and film. So, so it didn't really...
Okay, you following this? MCT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trick's following.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian, are you with it? You're
Yeah.
It all
Okay.
starts with the
She
snorkel.
graduated.
okay.
Anyway, so yeah.
I'm lost. Where does the viola come into it,
So
though?
the viola, I left the viola. When I went abroad, I left
I
it.
see. You just
Came back, didn't play it again,
Oh my
and then moved
gosh.
down here, didn't bring it, and kind of developed that complex of like, wow, I haven't taken the viola out of the case in a year. Wow, I haven't taken the viola out of the case in 2 years, and that fear of taking it out and not knowing how to play something that I used to know so well. And then I finally, flew back to New York where my family lives, brought it down as the first step of like, I'm going to reapproach this, and then didn't open it again for another year. And when I did finally open it,
It wasn't
was
in there.
Like, no, it was, but it was in like 5 pieces because of the humidity. So like the net, the bridge was off, and the like fingerboard was over there, and it was just like just another setback. So I'm still in the process of reapproaching my
So you haven't played the viola in a long, long time.
in 5 years.
Boy, I bet that was heartbreaking opening up that case.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
It was like I opened it up to be like, I'm gonna stand here
Right.
and play it
Jam.
right now,
Oh,
and it
man.
was in 6 pieces.
Denied.
It's like Shakespearean tragic love story stuff right there.
It was, this is it feels good to talk about it though.
Yeah.
Does? Well, we've got a viola right here. Wouldn't that be great if we really had one? What did you play? You were classical.
Well, so I played classical. I played in an orchestra, and then I
Right.
just played like solo. Unfortunately, often when you are a violist and you play solo music, you're actually playing violin music repurposed for the viola.
So other than the size, is it the same?
Well, the violin
Stuff?
has E, A, D, G strings,
Yeah.
and the viola has A, D, G, C strings.
Interesting.
Oh, so it's a
Didn't
whole
So we
know
lot
go
of
one
world,
lower, they go one
right.
higher, and we don't read in treble clef. We read in the bass clef. But
But
we,
the intervals are the same, so you could have the same
yes,
fingerings
and
everything?
then you go into the treble clef to go higher. Climb up the A to get into the E string, so to speak. So
Man, that sounds like a complex instrument.
and
Is
it's
there
very
reason?
complex.
Is that why most people don't pick it up and most people play
That's,
the
well,
violin?
yeah, there's a lot of jokes around it. We
Yeah,
really get.
what's
we're
a
really
good
the butt of
viola
a lot
joke?
of jokes.
It's a sophisticated instrument.
What's the difference between a viola and a violin? Viola takes longer to burn.
Yeah.
you know?
Okay. Okay.
And they're
Got
they're
any
bad
more?
jokes. They're
Yeah. there might be a better one though, right?
there might be, but I'm not usually the teller
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
you-
viola joke.
So you've given. So, are you ever going to get? I mean, do you have a
No, I
hankering to
haven't.
really?
What I've
You're going to need
decided,
some glue.
I need some glue, and actually, I should ask you guys if you know good repair
Oh,
shops. But
Sal
Yes.
Giardino on Metairie Road is the guy.
Great.
You know, Metairie Road
I'm writing
is
this
the guy.
down.
2 out of 4 musicians agree.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going seriously. But no, so what I decided was I can't try to jump right back into classical. It will
Cajun.
get a little bit too. So yeah, I might try some of the newer forms that I've been, exposed to more frequently in this city.
You
I
could be.
know a real weirdo guy that plays with me, and he's a classical celloist. I'm sure he'd love to rock some new styles.
Cool.
Who's that, Jay?
His name's Brian. He works down at Euclid Records. He's one of the guys down there.
Awesome.
He gets bent. That's good stuff.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay. Andrew, do you play anything besides the guitar?
Harmonica.
You picked up anything? Harmonica, you play that. Yes, I know that.
I got a piano in my room that it's really excellent at holding folded clothes.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
Yeah, so.
You have a piano as well, Brian?
Yeah, but it just doesn't. It's not the adapter for it. It's a little electric piano. Just isn't working, and it's sitting on a bench press set, so it's just sitting there.
It's always the bench press, isn't it? That's
And it's more. It's at this point. It's almost more for show. Although I would play it if the adapter worked. I'm just lazy and can't need to order the special adapter for the thing. But I do put clothes, and it gets shit piled up on it.
So, Lane, what'd you come here for to New Orleans? Not to play the viola?
Not
for
the
music?
Viola, not for music.
So what drove you?
Well, actually, partly it was for music because I was interested in doing something music related, and I got a job working with a live event production company that put on music festivals. And
Are you allowed to say the name, or is it?
Ray Hutch Entertainment.
Oh, we can't say that. You got a job working for Steve Ray Hutch. Well, that's a great place to start when you came to town.
That's right. But
how'd you get that job?
I applied for this job.
So old-fashioned. I've never heard of that before. Have you?
No,
I
what
thought
it
you had to
was?
know
No,
somebody.
they were a very small operation for a long time. They really basically only had like production wing and operations wing, and then they hired this guy, Stefan Bies, who was their first ever in-house designer, and so they needed an assistant to the production designer because it was a new kind of, department in the company. And I had absolutely no experience in design.
Perfect, right?
So I applied.
Yeah, and you got the job.
I got
That's
the
perverse.
job, came down and worked there for a little over a year, and it really had nothing to do with music.
But you worked at Ray Hutch Entertainment for a year.
Yes, correct.
What'd you do? The Essence or?
Essence Festival, Voodoo Festival. Then right after I moved here, like 5 months after I moved here, they sent me to New York for 5 months, which is where I had escaped from. So that was not
So how
ideal.
did you get onto producing stories? Radio, on the radio.
Yeah, well, in college I had a radio show, which I loved, as DJ Swim Team. And in my film, major, we had to concentrate on something technical. So, usually you do screenwriting or editing or, directing. And there was also sound design. And so I did my technical concentration in sound design and just became totally obsessed with audio editing and knew that I loved sound design and audio production, and I already loved radio, and so that was like the one thing that I could do for hours on end without stopping, and so then I came down here, tried to get a job at NPR, to no avail, and
Till you stopped asking to be paid, I assume.
yeah.
And then suddenly you start
And now
working
I
at
have this
WWNO.
great job.
Yeah.
Two friends and I, we run Bring Your Own, which is a live storytelling event where the idea was just, everyone is a musician or a DJ or a filmmaker or whoever they are, but they all know how to do this one very fundamental basic thing, which is stand up and tell a story.
So you just started Bring Your Own, which is Bring Your Own Story, it's short for, I suppose,
Bring
right?
Your Own, yeah. And actually, Liam Pierce, who's one of the other organizers, he did the first two, and I went to them. And he just threw them up in a backyard in the Marigny. There were 40 people that came. And I went because he was a friend and I was very interested in this idea. And I said to him, I want to do this with you and I want to record them. And I think that we can have, an audio element here because it was all event. It was all the live event, which is really magical. But I thought, hey, let's also, record these and capture these.
That's what the Moth Radio Hour has been for the last how many years? So
yeah.
it's basically you just rip them off.
Yeah, basically.
So, and now the funny thing is that you're producing the Moth and your own
that's right.
show. So
and they know that, so yeah.
Well, they obviously know because it's on WW. They're both on WWNO.
Right.
Is the Moth? Yeah, the Moth original.
Well,
Moth.
The Moth Radio Hour is.
Yeah, but
so
the New Orleans version is not yet, right?
The New Orleans is.
It's
a bi-weekly
both of them.
podcast on WWNO.
It's a podcast only. It's not on the actual.
It's on the air too. It airs airs every other week on All Things New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have two competing shows on the same station.
Yeah.
You produce the Moth Radio Hour in New
Well,
Orleans.
no.
And you produce
right.
Bring Your Own.
Yeah.
What's the difference between them?
So the Moth, the Moth is a story slam that, they have the radio hour where it's a national show that any NPR member station can pick up and decide that they want to run it on their station, and the best stories from all over the country are chosen to be on that hour, on that radio show. But the Moth Story Slam just started here 3 months ago, and that is very much an event, and 10 people get up and put their name in a hat. They get chosen, they tell a 5-minute story. Those stories don't go on air. Maybe if that story is amazing, that story will get selected to be part of the Moth Radio Hour. But it's always at one place. It's at Cafe Istanbul once a month.
So you're back to just doing a live event, which you initially decided was a waste of time.
That's right. But
what's up with that then?
How
did you get back to that?
The Moth is great. I mean,
yeah, it's great, but you are recording them, but you're not playing them anymore.
Right. Well, what's nice for me is, I like being a producer for the Moth event, and I like being a producer for Bring Your Own, because that is where I'm also going home and listening to the stories and editing them down and making them sound, better and more interesting and more ready for other people to listen to again and again. And so it's actually very different in terms of that audio.
What happens to the stories that people tell at the Moth at Cafe Istanbul once a month? What happens to those?
I don't know. They get sent into this vacuum of.
Do you send them
What
off
kind
to
of
the
stories are they?
We ship them off, and it's like when you go to the bank and you just like. I love.
You put them in that
things.
thing.
I love those things.
We're going to be able to get in one of those and go across the country, I think, at some point.
That's how the Moth does it, though. Seriously. Yeah.
But so you send the stories from the Moth at Cafe Istanbul off to the Moth headquarters.
And then I have no idea what happens to them after that.
Are they ever going to use them or anything?
I think, they vet them. And if they're good, then they can go into the Moth Radio Hour.
Right. But if you want to hear yourself on the radio in New Orleans tell a story, you need to go to Bring Your Own, right. Which is your thing, which is at different places, right? You do it mostly outdoors?
It's mostly outdoors. Every month we choose a different place. And so what's kind of cool is that we take these what are normally like private pieces of real estate. They could be someone's courtyard or backyard, or maybe it's, a bookstore that's usually closed at 7 p.m. that opens and stays open until 11. And so we kind of unlock these spaces in New Orleans that people may have never even been to and usually actually are not allowed to enter, and we create this temporary one-night-only venue for these events.
Oh, cool. You could do it at MC Tracheotomy's house.
Come do it at the Pearl if
I
you
would
want.
love to. I would love to.
That'd be killer.
Only if you DJ a swim team.
Nice.
Come on your snorkel.
Hell yeah. In between
that
stories.
Sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Well, I got a question about the random picking for the Moth stories, right?
Yes.
So everybody puts their name in a hat. Why not, convert the open mic, randomness into, slightly screened showcase sort of thing? Because you got to think some stories that are really great are kind of not getting missed by chance.
Well,
or something, right?
that's what we do at Bring Your Own. But what's interesting about like what Grant's saying, for the Moth, I have really zero creative control. Zero. I am implementing someone else's baby, and that's fine. But for Bring Your Own, the way that we do it is you email beforehand,
right?
And you say, I want to tell a story, and then we kind of talk about it. So it's not this random pull out of the hat. But we leave one space open for that guy or that girl who during halftime or intermission or whatever is just like either gets really drunk or either gets really inspired, or maybe it's both, and they say, I want to be, the wild card we call it, and they say, I want to tell a story in the second half, and then we choose one wild card. So 7 storytellers are, pre-vetted before. We don't know what they're going to tell, but they sign up before. That's as much as vetting we do. And then 1 slot is left open for the night of for anyone who really feels just inspired.
Have you been surprised at how popular it is?
I have been surprised in terms of the numbers. I mean, it like I said, it started with like 40 people in a backyard, and we don't have a Facebook page, we don't have a Twitter, we don't have, we have an email listserv, and that's it. And we have a website where we post our stories on SoundCloud. But
what's the website called?
It's called bringyourownstories.com. So, it's free, which is another difference. The Moth charges $8, and we hope and plan for the Bring Your Own event to always be free. But that's pretty much it. And so, the numbers now, it's like we get,
It's huge. It's
huge.
Wildly popular.
It's people, and it's great. I mean, and the way that people find out about it is word of mouth, as we intended it to be.
It's amazing that you can be successful without a Twitter account.
Right?
Have you ever heard anything like that, Trey?
This is proof.
I don't have a Twitter.
See?
You don't have Twitter? Facebook?
I have a Twitter,
You're
but I
on
don't use it.
Oh, I
Brian,
have a
you're
Twitter,
not.
but I don't
I've been
use it.
trying. I've really my social media skills have been getting better and better. I've been working harder
You
at
need
it.
to work a little bit harder still, though.
I do.
Because
I got-
I did spend about 10 minutes this afternoon looking for something about you to say. I couldn't find one thing on the World Wide Web about you.
Well, funny that you mentioned it. I
It
had to
is.
take down a website because I got, and here's one of the stories. I was driving down New Orleans in Benefit about 4 years ago, and I get T-boned by an off-duty police officer. And so I was in the middle of a major lawsuit because he was trying to sue me, saying that I, turned into him or something like that, and that he didn't actually T-bone me, and this whole thing. So for the purpose of the jury and everything, I actually had to take down my webpage and only leave up my Facebook and take down certain things in case somebody on the jury were to get on it and be like, oh, I don't like this guy. He's a dropout musician.
Did your
falling down
attorney
hard."
advise you to do that?
Yeah, my attorney advised me to do that, and I've just yet to put it back up.
Well,
'cause-
who won the case in the end?
Well, the case is still going on, but I think we're going to come out, and it's with my insurance, so no money would have to come out of my pocket if I lost, but I don't think I'm going to lose.
And how long? Well, no one thinks they're going to lose. How long have you had your website down then? Over this
It's
T-boning
been
event?
Maybe 4 months now, 3
Oh,
months
that's
now.
all,
It's
okay.
tough, yeah. I mean, so I'm using the Facebook fan page right now as the main promoter, but I'm hoping by the new year, because obviously I want it up for the album, for the EP that's coming out with the Wanderlust, to have that out there. And
Right.
It's through Band Zoogle is the host that lets me. It's a great website. You just buy the thing every year, and then it's great for formatting pictures, and it has everything set up, and it's really easy to navigate.
It's
through.
called Band Zoogle.
Band Zoogle.
What stuff is you on? Trek, you're on just on put your stuff on SoundCloud?
There's some stuff up there.
Let's take a listen to one of your tracks. I was going to say we should just listen to Let Me Explain. Is that okay with you?
That's good. That's a song about thinking it's a good idea to ingest LSD before you go on a blind date.
Nice.
Which side do you come down on that one? Oh, we
You
have to
just
listen.
Listen to the narrative.
Okay.
Just let me explain. Hey, whoa.
Zodiac.
Just let me explain. Hey, whoa.
Oh my goodness! Nice job! Nice job!
Yep.
Yeah, that was mastered by D.L. Parker, and the extra voice in there is a guy who'll be in town Sunday night at Siberia. Does Imagine the Band. Good friend Eric Pearson. He's born and raised in New Orleans, but lives in Los Angeles now.
So what's
And,
going on track.
So you on the drums?
What are you playing? Yeah.
Well, it's all a matter of layering and programming. It's all built on the computer from whether it's samples of stuff or drum machines and a lot of vocals with a lot of extra effects on multiple vocals. And
Are you doing the vocals mostly, or you and
and
the other guy?
EP, yeah, he was
EP.
going as the Zodiac Man, and in the trick sets, he's the Zodiac Man, the feared Zodiac Man, never caught.
So you have a live band that does the stuff live.
Oftentimes there's a full band, whether drummer, guy playing samples, a DJ, bass, guitar, sometimes horns, and sometimes it's just me with the backing track, which I wrote and built with,
Right.
lefty arranging stuff, like taking all the stuff in my brain and going, let's try this, and it works out. So sometimes I can just do it as a glorified karaoke, or I can have the backing tracks that a DJ is scratching the beats, and then different
Right.
levels of augmentation all the way down to no DJ at all. It's all just live. But that it takes on kind of rock category, sort of a rock face.
And
when
how
it goes to full band.
How are you getting the idea across to people? Do you have rehearsals, or you have a bunch of like-minded?
Well, I started off just doing it solo, and then different musicians came and said, "Oh man, I love that track, man. We should do that live, man. We said, "Oh, we'll do that live." I'm like, all right, come over. Here's your rehearsal CD. I'll see you at the house. And then we just go through it, and then they take on new arrangements and that sort of thing. Well, fortunately, working with El Tonios, who's got Hell or High Water Tattoo on guitar and bass. We got a whole album of stuff that's just like duet, more kind of like not really country, but like kind of like rock, always with the psychedelic.
Not really country is a good description, probably. Right?
Yeah, but it's like rock, but it's not. I don't know. It's just got a different feel to it because of his influence and
Right.
where the two of us met. I mean, it's still out in the left field. But
So you're one of these people who we've met a few of these people on the show over the last year or two, where they're not household names in New Orleans, like you,
Right.
but you have a cult following around the country and around the world.
yeah, and
You're
overseas.
bigger outside of New Orleans than you are in New Orleans.
Yeah, well that happened to all the great ones. Maybe they'll like me when I'm dead.
What happens here though that people don't get this stuff?
There's so
Are you
much-
too wacky for New Orleans?
I think
just
that
hard to
people
imagine.
just aren't really. I mean, it's a lot to get your head around. I mean, I give it that. It's by no means conventional, but people that are in town that are out to have a good time and are kind of getting past it. Who's watching me dance? They love it.
It's dance music.
Yeah, sometimes it's sleeping music. I mean, depending on which recording you got. Some people there's one called With Love from Tahiti, which you can get all this stuff at Euclid Records downtown on Desire and Charter Street. But it's called With Love from Tahiti, and it's my tribute to the baby making music makers. So it's kind
Baby
of
making.
I know well, yeah, it's baby making music. It's just kind of like practicing. It's not really going for the whole manger thing. But yeah, it's a tribute to
That's romantic.
Barry White, Al Green, O.V. Wright, Isaac Hayes, all the big ladies like this. It's like you don't really say nothing, and that's kind of designed to. It's 58 minutes long, and because
Because you're 60-minute man.
well, if you're one of the type that you like to have your fun in a 1 hour motel, you got a minute to check in, a minute to check out.
All right.
Okay, nice.
But it's also designed you can push repeat because it ends the way it starts, so you can stay and play all day. Put the speaker under the bed, turn all the treble off, crank the bass up, order room service or whatever.
That's an awesome idea. It's called With Love from Tahiti.
With Love from Tahiti.
Now that's a good title for your album as well, Brian. With
I
Love
think I'm
from-
gonna do this. I got a birthday coming up, and I'm gonna get a motel and get my girl, and we're gonna.
Yeah.
do it.
Can you still get the? Can you still
Still
get
get
the
pregnant.
rooms by the? Can you still get rooms by the hour in New Orleans?
I
haven't
think on
seen-
Airline Highway maybe you still.
They're still going.
Sugar Bowl, man.
I don't know. That would
I
be a
think
good.
Jerry Swagger did.
He did. That was probably the last person we heard about getting a room by the. I haven't seen those for.
They're out there.
They're still going.
I think Tulane
That's
Avenue.
a great
too.
idea.
Well, that
with-
turns into Airline, so the
Yeah.
extended strip.
Yeah.
La Petite Motel, I think.
So are you playing in New Orleans much at all?
Well, the next time I'm playing in New Orleans, it's with this punk rock band that asked me to do vocals, and that's the same Sunday night at Siberia. There's a whole bunch of bands that night: Die Rots, Bipolaroid, Heavy Lids, Imagine the Band, Patient Zero, and I think there's a band from Austin coming in whose name I don't know, and the Hard Hat DJ team. So it's going to be a full
long night.
Sunday night.
Yeah. People listen to this show like for years later. So if they listen to it in 2013 or 14, what date are we talking about?
Oh, this is December the 22nd.
Well, that's pretty soon.
2013.
December 22nd, 2013. If you listen to the show before that, it's a Sunday night down at
Right,
Siberia.
And if you're in New Orleans, come down to Siberia. If you're, want to get in the mosh pit and, dance around.
Otherwise, we can listen to your stuff on SoundCloud. We can find that's where we found that. MC
right.
Tracheotomy. And
Right.
tracheotomy is TRACHIO.
Right, IO. Not
Something
like
or
the
other.
procedure, just so it stand out. Because I Googled it first, and
Yeah.
it came up as like all the medical procedures. So I switched it and put the little Italian I in there.
Oh, so tracheotomy from the trachea is a E.
Right, yo.
Oh, okay.
Yo.
Ah, so
Instead of
tracheotomy
IO.
is the Italian
Yeah,
version.
Yeah, my outer space Italian version.
Right.
Yeah.
Alter ego
The
Italian.
Brothers 3 version Italian.
Nice. Yeah.
Give me another
Pre-makeover.
30 beers.
Okay, so Andrew, do you feel like playing something? I think we need to.
Yeah, glad to do it. I'll
What
grab
do
the
you think?
guitar
What are
and
you thinking of playing?
talk amongst yourselves. I'm not sure yet, but when I get the guitar, I'll
Okay.
know.
Good. What, this is Lane's part. Lane, you're producing partners here. Come say a quick hello before Andrew comes. Hey, who are you? sir?
I'm Liam Pierce and very late, apparently.
Well, that's okay.
Apologies.
No, you just come say a quick hi, and then we're going to kick you out again.
All right, let's do it.
So so you're the person who came up with this idea originally for
Yes.
the Bring Your Own Stories.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you come up with the idea? Did you just rip off the Moth as well, or
Basically.
did you think that was your original idea?
No, I think that I had a couple of elements. It was a bit of a combination of what I had done at the Moth. I'd been in the
Oh,
Moth.
you were working at the Moth.
I wasn't working for the Moth, but I'd participated a little bit in New York City.
I see.
And I also worked for StoryCorps as well. And so I saw two different elements of storytelling in those two events that I enjoyed.
Okay, so
a lot.
StoryCorps is the thing that you hear on the morning edition on NPR. That's where I've heard it.
You start crying every time.
Yeah, that they take some story that
Talking about
obviously was
cancer.
like an hour long, and they
7 a.m..
yeah. My mom had cancer, and I took her to the chemo, and wasn't that great, Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Brenda Smith died 3 weeks after we
Yeah,
recorded
exactly.
this. Like, oh,
And then
my
put that coal miner song on. Like, yeah.
They find your heartstrings and play it like an upright bass. It's just.
So
it's a little rough.
you worked on that show. Did you edit those stories down?
I didn't do much of the editing. I was actually an interviewer, so I would sit in on recordings and would ask questions of people. And
Oh, what a great gig!
Oh, it
So
was
you got to
awesome.
hear those stories live.
Absolutely.
So how many of them do they have to go through to find the ones that are so emotional?
I mean, that's kind of tricky. That's something you would see a lot of ones. A lot of them would get emotional, but you wouldn't really understand how it was emotional. You just see a couple people crying after mentioning like an old dog or something like that. So it weren't all as climactic as you'd expect.
Well,
them
that's
to
what I
be.
mean. What's the ratio? How many do you have to record to get one of these tear jerkers?
I'd say they say less than 1% of the stories. were
1%.
produced.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we only had to do 1% of these shows that were any good, we'd have to do like one every 2 years to do a good show. Well, this might be it. Who knows?
I only showed up for
Take a
1% of
poll.
the time, so I better
There
nail
you
it.
go. Okay. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to kick you out.
Absolutely.
And good to meet you. Though. That was worth it. We'll grab another mic in a minute. Okay. Andrew, come on back. Whoa.
Where it's
Okay.
around.
It's so what did you decide to do?
I'm gonna do a song. It's called "Hold Me, Babe." I'm tired of holding old memories. Babe, I wanna hold on to you. 'Cause when the night blows cold, that old memory to hold, it don't keep me as warm as you do. But I'm
I'm sure that you got your own story about a man you can't seem to cut loose. Yeah, babe, I know the pain, and it don't go away. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. We'll hold out for dear love. We'll hold on for dear life. 'Cause this dear life is cruel. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. Nobody's as sure as they're pretending. I can't dance, I just shuffle my shoes. But I know it'd make you smile if we went dancing for a while. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. Now I'm all torn up on sad songs and whiskey. You taste like smoke and perfume. Well, blame it all on me if it helps you to sleep. Just hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. And I'll hold out for dear love. And we'll hold on for dear life. But this dear life is cruel. So hold me, babe, and I'll hold on to you. Hold on to me, babe, and I'll hold on to you.
Thanks, y'all.
Andrew Duhan, back in town. Okay, everybody, we've almost reached the end of happy hour.
Damn.
It's a whole hour just wasted.
Before
Yeah.
it's over, I need to say that no one can
Yes.
see this, but I love Trake's mock turtleneck that he's
Right.
rocking. It's my favorite style of shirt.
Yeah, and it's hiding his tracheotomy.
Hiding your
Yeah.
tracheotomy, you didn't even know.
Hiding up. Well, you never. It's hot during the day, and tonight it can get a little.
It's actually really warm today for December.
It's warm in here. What
Right,
is a
but tonight
mock
it's gonna be
turtleneck?
This is a mock turtleneck.
What's
It's
an
a-
actual turtleneck? It turns
a turtleneck,
over.
Yeah, it's
Ah.
longer so that
Can
you
you fold it in?
But
So
this
you can
doesn't
pull it
fold.
all the way up like Mort from Bazooka Joe.
That's
doll.
right.
Okay, so why aren't you wearing one, Lee?
I have one at home, but I sometimes I wear it to sleep. So he's doing it loud and proud
And
out in
I'm
the
ready to go to
daylight.
sleep in any minute. I mean,
You're always ready to sleep. You never know when you might have to, right?
you never know when
Yeah.
you're going to get to again.
These aren't your pajamas you wore to the
no,
show, right?
No. I came straight from work, actually. So
What do you do at work?
I paint Mardi Gras floats over on Bordeaux Street for Proteus and Momus.
Proteus.
Yeah.
Which one is that? Is that on?
That's the one with the big fish.
That's what night is that? Was that Friday night?
It's Monday night.
Monday night. Okay. So who makes those? What company?
It's called Royal Artists. And,
that's the beautiful floats, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all they're stretched with canvas and they're all hand painted and they're on the old wheels. I think
Yeah.
they used to be Civil War ammunition carts or something before they built floats on them.
So you do that all day? I mean, not all day, but every day. It's a job.
Yeah, yeah, and also I cut some food down at Green Goddess, which is on Exchange Alley, fantastic restaurant. Paul Artigue owns that, who is also the drummer in Guitar Lightning and the Die Rots bands. It's a musical world. in
Yeah.
New Orleans.
You have to have a
that's
day
why-
job.
A
around
couple.
A couple of day jobs.
Yeah, but it's awesome. The floats, it's fantastic. You're part of something that millions of people see, even if they don't make it. And it's about 9 months out of the year, as far as my part goes. And the guy that owns it's awesome. I met him in Italy on a Crash Worship tour in '90s sometime. So yeah, it's a very tight knit family kind of deal, and it's every year they get torn down, whited out, repainted. So
Start over.
yeah.
Wow. MC
Not going to
Tracheotomy.
mention
Yes.
the competition, but they don't redo their stuff every year. They clean the floats off and
They just hose them down and put them
change
back
the
out.
bulbs.
Yeah. No, they're beautiful, those parades.
Yeah,
the one you're
it's
talking
really
about.
it's
a real Mardi
rewarding.
Gras.
I don't have to worry about where to store the canvases. It's quite cathartic.
That's cool. Well, thanks for joining us, MC
it was a blast being
Tracheotomy.
here. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great to have you. And Brian as well, Brian Hyken and the Wanderlust album coming out in February of 2014.
We got a show at Gasa Gasa on January 10th, Friday,
Okay.
next month. So if y'all are around, come on out, come
Cool.
take a listen. Open
Okay.
for Elizabeth Cope.
That's Gasa Gasa on Ferret Street,
Yes.
January 10th,
Awesome
2014.
venue.
We have to make clear about
January 10th on a Friday night.
it.
Yeah.
All right. And Lane Captain Leveson, thanks for joining us as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
The name of the website is bringyourownstories.com.
That's
to
right,
find
and
out
we're
more
actually
about that.
we're having our first ever party, which it won't be a typical storytelling event. It's just really to have a party on January 17th at the Aquarium Gallery in the Bywater, which is on Rampart Street in Montague. So come out for that.
So it's just a party
Just a party. There may be
for no reason.
What day?
Well, it's for celebrating Bring Your Own and all the people that help us and all the people that come, and we've it's free. We always want to keep it free, and so this is
Hey,
a
you're
way
invited to a
You
party.
said the
comes
17th.
the 17th in January.
All right,
guys
so we'll
gonna
be in
have-
carnival season already too. So
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
true
it's kicking it off. So
Okay.
come out.
All right. Thanks very much, though. I
Yeah,
don't think
thank
anyone's
you.
ever invited all our listeners to a party.
Everyone
Oh,
is
it's
invited to
excellent.
this party.
Awesome.
Actually.
Okay.
And if you come to my show and you've heard about it through this station, I'll put you on the guest list and you won't have to pay for that
free.
either. For free.
So show up at
There
Gasa
you go.
Gasa on January Friday
say
the
that you
10th.
listen to this
So you
station.
heard it on Happy Hour, and you're in for nothing.
That's
In for nothing.
And contact you on the Facebook page, right? Because you don't have a website yet.
Yeah, and for like another few weeks.
Until you win the court case against the cop.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I don't even know if I should be talking about it.
No, well, what's the cop's name? I wouldn't mention that at least.
No,
I'm not your lawyer, but I wouldn't advise you to say
no,
the
no,
guy's
no.
name.
I thought it was kind of redundant when he said off duty.
Yeah, off duty.
Well, that's.
I'm
yeah.
just kidding. I love the New Orleans police.
Just remember that, yes. And MC Tracheotomy is your real name, so they can look that up, right? So if in case you get pulled over, I mean, it's on your license, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, I walk
absolutely.
everywhere I go. So.
Right, good thinking. Andrew Duhon as well has been here today. Thanks for joining us. That's Happy Hour. Our producer of the show is Graham DePonte. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh is our music director, and the theme song that you're currently listening to was written by and is being played by as well. Mitch Foreman. The fabulous audio quality of this show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. PreSonus makes some of the best audio recording and live sound products around, including Studio One music production software, Studio Live digital mixing consoles, Eris studio monitors, and much more. You can visit presonus.com for more information about all that. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for approximately 60 minutes sitting around a table at Casa Borrega, our address is on our website. Drop us a line. Our website is where you can also find plenty of other Happy Hour shows as well as other shows we make. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti live from Commander's Palace. Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajic. True to the Game with Chris True and Tammy Nelson. Vietnola, our show about the New Orleans Vietnamese community with the Vietnamese Terry Gross, Kim Vu, and Midnight Menu Plus One with Margot Moss and the man who ate New Orleans, Ray Canada. You can keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media. You can find us on all of them. We're called It's New Orleans. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher or some other podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment to rate and review us. That apparently does help other people find us. The show was recorded live today at Casa Borrega, the beautiful Latin American jazz bar, which is also a restaurant with awesome food. It's getting all sorts of great reviews, by the way, since we started coming out. I don't think we had anything to do with that. You can follow them on Facebook and Twitter as well. Casa Borrega is on Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard in Central City in New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, Graham DuPont, everyone back at INO and around the table here at Casa Borrega, I'm Grant Morris. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you back here next time on Happy Hour.
Are you looking for the best deals on stylish modern European furniture? Then you have to visit Creative Furniture Stores. With names like Natuzzi, Caligaris, and Gamma, you can't go wrong. Turn your home into the sleek, comfortable environment your family and friends will love spending time in. Our huge showrooms and knowledgeable consultants will make decorating easy, and discount pricing will make shopping easy on your wallet. Visit us in Paramus, Fairfield, North Plainfield, or Brooklyn, or at creativefurniturestore.com. Creative Furniture, committed to excellence.